What's up, everyone? Welcome to the July 12th edition of FanDuel Tournament Plays presented by PrizePicks. I'm your host, Adam Scherer. You can follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. And as a reminder, use the code AWESEMO. You'll receive one free month of Stokastic Plus Platinum. When you sign up and make a deposit at PrizePicks, you'll also receive a 100% deposit bonus up to $100 on your first deposit. We have a 14-game MLB slate tonight. And as usual, we're going to take a look at three of the top tournament stacks and three of the top tournament pitchers on FanDuel using the top stacks tool and the top pitchers tool on the Stokastic.com website. Starting with the top three stacks, number three, the Texas Rangers have a favorable matchup tonight facing James Kaprielian. Kaprielian has been very, very bad this year, only striking out 14.9% of hitters with a 5.43 xFIP. He's leaving the friendly confines of the Oakland Coliseum and going into Texas. The Rangers' active roster has a 105 WRC plus and a 169 ISO. There's plenty of power top to bottom in this lineup, and they are projected for about 4% ownership with a 5% chance of being the top scoring stack. Number two, the Los Angeles Dodgers are taking on Matthew Liberatore. They're projected for 5% ownership with a 6% chance of being the top scoring stack. Liberatore is one of the top pitching prospects in baseball, but he has struggled so far early in his major league career, only striking out 19% of hitters with a 5.21 xFIP. The Dodgers are an extremely difficult matchup for him to get right against, and they have a good chance of having success against him here. Their active roster has a 118 WRC plus and a 180 ISO so far this season. And number one, the Colorado Rockies taking on Mike Clevenger tonight in Coors Field. Clevenger is a good pitcher. He's having a strong season for the Padres, striking out about 24.8% of hitters with a 3.9 xFIP. But not surprisingly, the Rockies have been much better at home than on the road. They have a 100 WRC plus and a 186 ISO in Coors Field this year. They're only projected for about 4% ownership with a 7% chance of being the top scoring stack. Now, before we take a look at the top three tournament pitchers, we do have a new promo code for viewers of my tournament videos. Use the promo code ADAMMLB. It's at the top of the screen. You'll receive 50% off any weekly Stokastic Plus package. This is available for new users only, but if you haven't already signed up for Stokastic Plus, use this promo. Get yourself 50% off any weekly package. You'll get access to behind the paywall data, including the top stacks tool and the top pitchers tool that I reference in these videos. So use the ADAMMLB promo code and get 50% off any Stokastic Plus weekly package. Now, looking at the top three tournament pitchers, number three, Josiah Gray, 2% projected ownership with a 5% chance of being the top scoring pitcher. He's $9,300 and taking on the Seattle Mariners. Gray has struggled with power this year, allowing about 1.8 home runs per 9 innings. He walks too many guys. He has a mediocre 4.2 xFIP, but he does do a good job getting strikeouts. He has a 26.8% strikeout percentage. The Mariners will once again be without Julio Rodriguez tonight, though they are expected to get Jesse Winker back from his suspension. Their active roster has a 108 WRC plus and a 20.9% strikeout percentage. Number two, Luis Garcia, also projected for 2% ownership with a 5% chance of being the top scoring pitcher. Garcia is taking on the Los Angeles Angels, who have a 104 WRC plus on their active roster, very heavily driven by the presence of Mike Trout, Taylor Ward, and Shohei Ohtani. But they also have a massive 27.7% strikeout percentage on their active roster. If Garcia is able to limit damage against those three at the top, he's very likely to be able to just carve up the rest of this lineup and rack up some strikeouts. He's only $9,500, and he comes into this game with a 25.7% strikeout percentage and 3.61 xFIP this season. And number one, Logan Webb, projected for 11% ownership, 7% chance of being the top scoring pitcher at $10,000. He's a way to pay up to be a little bit contrarian when you have a lot more ownership, basically 3 times the ownership going to Garrett Cole. You have twice the ownership going to Spencer Strider. Paying up for Webb in a good matchup against the Diamondbacks, who have a 93 WRC plus and a 22% strikeout percentage on their active roster, is one way that you can sort of limit the ownership in your lineup by being a little bit different with Webb. He has only struck out 20.7% of hitters this year, but it is likely that that number increases going forward. He's also pitching in San Francisco, which is a great place to pitch, and he does have a very good 3.35 xFIP so far this season. So to recap, the top three tournament stacks: number three, the Texas Rangers; number two, the Los Angeles Dodgers; and number one, the Colorado Rockies. And the top three tournament pitchers: number three, Josiah Gray; number two, Luis Garcia; and number one, Logan Webb.